Total Drama Revenge of the Islands is one of the most underappreciated Total Drama seasons. The general consensus is, it's not as good as the first three, but it's better than All Stars and Pockettail, aka decent. But I think this season's way better than decent. In fact, it's one of my favorites. In fact, it's one of the greats. Here's why. Now, one of the most important things to a Total Drama season's success is to have a good cast of characters, because it doesn't matter how good the writing is, if every character is Stacy, then the season is going to be shit. Okay, now as I was saying before that TV blurb sound effect interrupted me, the previous 3 seasons of Total Drama had 26 episodes, and always had the same set of characters, with removing some, and in the case of World Tour, adding 2 of them, Sierra and Alejandro. Well, in Revenge of the Island, they decided to completely scrap all the other characters and create a completely new cast. And instead of the 26 episodes we're used to in every season, they lowered it down to 13 episodes. Now here's where the oogly booglies start to get to people. With less episodes, that means less screen time. And with less screen time, we have less of a chance to connect to the characters before they get eliminated, thrown a green marshmallow, and they turn into Dakotazoid. So, not only in Revenge of the Island did these characters have to be good, they also had to be good on the set of circumstances of only having 13 episodes. So the question is, did Revenge of the Island do a good job at this? Well, the only way to find out is to stop lollygagging and for us to go pull up the cast list. Okay, so there is some bad characters. For example, Stacy. All she talks about is her great, no one really gives a fuck. And she was just made to be a first boot. Now, outside of Stacy, I can't think of a single other character I dislike from this cast. Joe was a really cool secondary antagonist. Scott's one of my favorite antagonists of all time. Brick was a really funny and honestly should have made All Stars. Cameron was a neat bubble boy who had a lot of development to grow outside of that. Sam was your average gaming nerd, but he had more to his character than just that. B was really cool and deserved more screen time. Dawn is honestly, I'll be honest, she doesn't deserve it. She didn't get enough screen time for it, but she makes top 10 favorite characters for me. Lightning is an hilarious jock. Zoe and Mike, I really like their dynamic in Revenge of the Island. And Anne-Maria and Dakota, I don't love them, but they're not bad either. This is a really good freaking cast. Now, here's where we go back to screen time. It does not matter if every single character is Tom Cruise. If they only give that screen time to Stacy, and she only talks about her great uncle for 5 episodes straight, then it's not going to be good. So how does Revenge of the Island distribute screen time to all of its characters? You see, Revenge of the Island has a balance between eliminating weaker characters and eliminating strong characters early on. Because you do need that balance. You need to have some of the cool, good characters go early to make, well, the dramatic campfire ceremonies actually dramatic. So, in fact, it does an amazing job at this. Characters like Brick, Dawn, B, amazing characters get eliminated pretty early on. And it doesn't take out all the strong characters either, because going into the final 6, you got characters like Zoe, Mike, Joe, Lightning, and Scott all still in the game. Now, a quick segment on the antagonist of the season, Scott. Now, here's why Scott is the perfect antagonist. He eats dirt. What other Total Drama character is doing it? That's what I thought. Scott's the only one doing the shit others don't want to do. Eating f***ing dirt. Okay, seriously, I have a whole video planned for why I think Scott's an amazing villain. But long story short, his strategy was to make his team lose on purpose so he can vote them out. Granted, you could say this is brilliant or stupid, but it got a lot of his teammates voted off. So I personally think it was smart. Not only that, Scott also took advantages of almost every aspect of the game. 1. The invincibility statue. Not only did he look for it every second he could, almost guaranteeing that he was going to find it, he also created fake ones with his wood carving talent. We could see this in Dawn's elimination, where she's like, I got the Krista Milioti statue! And then Scott's like, sorry, fairy princess, you dug up one of my knockoffs! I do love me some wiggling! Now let's talk about the most heated thing in the total drama community. Romance. I don't know if you've seen those Gruntkin versus Dunkney discussions. Oh boy, those get heated. People start waving knives around. That's just an average Tuesday for those people. But anyway, ships I do really like from Revenge of the Island. I did like Zoe's and Mike's relationship a lot. I liked how Cameron helped Mike out with his personal disorder. Personality disorder. No, multiple personality disorder. Am I f***ing dyslexic? What? The script says multiple personality disorder, so where am I getting mercenaries? Now, anyway, I hope you laughed at my stupidity there, because the next segment we're talking about is humor. Now, humor is an important aspect of total drama. You can't just have Chris McClane go look at the camera and say, balls! That's not funny. But I think the humor in Revenge of the Island is pretty freaking solid. I think it does a good job at making the viewer laugh, because, well, I find it hilarious, but at the same time, I'm the one making a video on why Revenge of the Island is apparently one of the greats, whatever the frick that means. Next is what makes this season stand out. Now, in the previous seasons, there was something unique about them. Action had the movies, World Tour was about flying around the world, Island had the island. Speaking of that same island, in Revenge of the Island, we go back to this island. Why did I put island so much in the script? Anyway, what makes it unique? Well, Revenge of the Island brought toxic waste to the table. Now, me personally, I'm gonna be honest, I do not like the toxic waste. I admit, it brought us some pretty good challenges. The challenges were unique and I did like them. At the same time, it had some really bad plots to it. I really did not like the Dakota Zoid plot. And also how in the final 3, some random intern falls into a pothole and turns into a mutant zombie, and Chris just does not care. That's another flaw I have with this season. The derailment of Chris McClane. In the previous seasons, it seemed like Chris at least somewhat cared if his contestants died. In Revenge of the Island, it really does not seem like he cares. The only reason it seems like he might care is he might get lawsuited. Like when Dakota gets turned into a mutant freak, not only was that a bad plot point, but Chris McClane just does not care. And in the previous seasons, he actually did have somewhat of a heart. He's the type of person who would see a car crash and just go, dang, that's crazy, dog. Anyway, last time on Total Drama Island. Now this kind of goes alongside the challenges. They brought back some of the OG contestants to help explain some of the challenges. For example, Bridget, DJ, and Duncan, and Gwen. And honestly, just seeing them was great. They all acted like themselves before you have... Oh crap, wait, that's for another day. But did all of this season come to a good payoff? What was the conclusion of it? In the end, it all came across to one of the best finales in a total drama season. Brain versus Bronze. We have Cameron, who's been developed all season, alongside Lightning. Lightning was one of the most hilarious total drama characters, bar none. Not only that, he actually has some level of complexity to him. Yeah, he definitely is a stereotypical jock, but he is stupid, but not completely stupid. For example, in the final 3, when Lightning had to choose between Zoe and Cameron, even though he hated Cameron, he chose to eliminate Zoe so he could completely crush Cameron in the final. So, in the end, Revenge of the Island isn't perfect. It does have some noticeable problems. But at the same time, none of these seasons are perfect. World Tour has its problems. Action has its problems. Island has its problems. All Stars definitely has its major problems. But Revenge of the Island's still one of my favorite seasons, and I don't know if I was able to show how much I actually did love this season in this video, but I truly do believe it's one of the better seasons of Total Drama. So the question is, where does Revenge of the Island go on the totem pole of seasons for me? Is it the second best? Is it my favorite? Third? Fifth? Well, in the great words of Brick, I don't know! Oh yeah, subscribe or you'll become like Dakota Zoid. Durr!